Good evening. I'm thrilled to be here as we honor two outstanding leaders, Roger Ferguson and Brian Moynihan. Roger has proven his commitment to our country time and time again. From his renowned leadership at the Fed in the aftermath of 9/11 to working every day to secure a better financial future for millions of teachers. Roger, congratulations on receiving the Whitehead Award for Distinguished Public Service. Bank of America has a rich history of financial innovation. For history buffs, Bank of America was the first bank to use computers to automate bookkeeping. As CEO, Brian's leadership and vision has kept Bank of America on the forefront of financial services. Brian, congratulations on receiving the Schwab Financial Innovation Award. Everyone's support is a testament to the impact the Museum of American Finance has on our country. It is a pleasure to be here in support of the museum and in celebration of Roger and Brian's remarkable achievements.
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to our honorees. Roger and Brian are extraordinary leaders. Their record of accomplishments embodies the very best in finance. What this sector can do to support thriving economies and communities. S&P Global is proud to salute their leadership, contributions, and commitment to stronger financial markets. And Roger, congratulations on your retirement.
On behalf of everyone at BlackRock, congratulations to today's honorees, Roger Ferguson and Brian Moynihan, and to the Museum of American Finance for the great work done by all of you during this most challenging year. Please, everyone, to stay safe and healthy, and everyone, again, congratulations.
Thank you to the Museum of American Finance for its relentless commitment to increase the understanding of the essential role financial institutions play in growing and protecting the U.S. economy. Brian and Roger, we appreciate your leadership, both in the public and private sectors, to create the resilient and innovative financial services industry that we have today.
Congratulations to Roger Ferguson and Brian Moynihan on receiving these distinguished awards. Both of your contributions to the public and private sectors have significantly strengthened and enhanced the financial services industry. The museum's dedication to improving the understanding of financial institutions and capital markets is extraordinary and unwavering, and these honors are a testament to your monumental accomplishments. We wish you continued success in the future. Congratulations again.
I'm glad that I took this program because it gave me more confidence in making my financial decisions and actually starting a business in the future.
The most important thing I learned from the finance program was when you get a credit card, always pay for everything. That's really important to have a good FICO score.
The most important thing I learned in this class is that time is your most valuable asset. Saving money at an early age would be beneficial towards you when you're older.
I'm so glad I learned how to handle my money through this program. And now going forward, I'll be able to confidently make good financial decisions. Thank you to the museum and thank you to Con Edison.
Hello, I'm Consuelo Mack, one of the MCs of tonight's wonderful event to celebrate two extraordinary individuals and the nation's only independent museum dedicated to finance and financial history. So along with Bob Pisani, we'd like to welcome each of you to the Museum of American Finance 2021 Virtual Gala. Now, I'm not just a fan of the museum, I'm also a trustee. And I'm thrilled to be part of this exceptional evening with so many luminaries from the financial world as we celebrate our nation's financial heritage. During tonight's program, we will acknowledge the support of some of our most important companies that are transforming the financial services industry and contributing to a more equitable and just society. Our hosts for the evening are Chairman and CEO Andover National Corp. And Museum Chair Peter Cohen and Museum President and CEO David Cowan. Peter became chair of the museum in September, and David has led the museum since 2009. The museum's trustees are so grateful for their dedicated leadership, particularly in a year as challenging as 2020. We're looking forward to hearing from them both this evening, and now it is my great pleasure to introduce Peter Cohen.
Thank you, Consuelo. Consuelo Mack is an important member of the museum's Board of Trustees. And great thanks to Bob Pisani for acting as our co-MC this evening with her. Welcome to the Museum of American Finance 2021 Gala. I wish all of you a very happy and healthy new year, and thank you for joining us this evening. I am so pleased to co-host this evening with my fantastic partner, David Cowan, President and CEO of the museum. David works tirelessly, always giving his all and more to make this museum a success in every way. Tonight is a celebration of our nation's financial heritage. And given the current environment, it's a celebration of our industry, how the financial markets and its intermediaries rose to the challenges presented us. Facing the global health crisis, we had to rethink how we run our businesses. And in spite of this, the financial markets continue to run seamlessly. As we pivoted to virtual organizations, the year demonstrated the resiliency of the American financial system. The stability of the markets confirmed that we could make this dramatic shift, and our capital markets continue to operate efficiently. In fact, this was a historic year for IPOs and capital raised through traditional and non-traditional channels. It is a tribute to American technological innovation that the capital markets function in the face of these challenges. 30 years ago, this could have never happened. Tonight, we honor two prominent figures from the financial industry who successfully exemplify a great response to both the health and social crises we've experienced. Roger Ferguson shifted TIAA to a virtual work-from-home environment and became an outspoken leader for social justice within corporate America and society at large. He will be retiring from TIAA at the end of March, and we look forward to his continued presence in our industry. Brian Moynihan continued to navigate B of A in response to the pandemic, flawlessly serving his vast client base. As a B of A client, I can personally attest to this and not only congratulate Brian, but I personally thank him and his associates. Brian was also highly effective using the enormous resources of B of A to address the social challenges facing our country. Tonight, I proudly represent our industry and the Museum of American Finance in bringing you many high-profile individuals participating in our 2021 Gala. And as our industry's only museum, we are committed to bringing you insights and developments that shape the financial markets and those that influence its past. Our mission is to expand the public's awareness and understanding of the financial industry's importance to the global economy and the American success story. I thank all of you for joining us this evening. Your support means a great deal to us, especially as we dramatically rethink how a museum can best serve its various audiences outside of its physical walls and in-person programming. But these obstacles have provided us with many opportunities. You'll hear more about this from David Cowan. Our trustees play a critical role in fortifying the museum and supporting its programming throughout the year. Their names are displayed as I speak. I am recognizing and sincerely thanking those who stepped up to co-chair this gala. Carmine DeCivio, CEO, EY. Bill Donaldson, former chairman of the Museum's Advisory Council and former chair of the SEC. Bill Dudley, Museum Advisory Council member, former president and CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Ron Fauber, president and CEO of Moody's. Larry Fink, chairman and CEO of BlackRock. Dina Friedman, president and CEO of NASDAQ. James Gorman, chairman and CEO, Morgan Stanley. Ken Griffin, founder and CEO, Citadel. Bill Harrison, former chairman and CEO, JPMorgan Chase. Chris Perry, president, Broadridge. Doug Peterson, president and CEO, S&P Global. Charlie Scharf, CEO, Wells Fargo and Company. Charles Schwab, chairman, founder, Charles Schwab Corporation. Joseph Tarantino, president and CEO, Protiviti. Paul Taylor, president and CEO of Fitch Group. Ann Walker, Global Real Estate and Strategic Initiatives Executive, New York City Market President, Bank of America. And Gerald Walker, CEO, ING Americas. And with my greatest appreciation, I highlight this evening's platinum and gold sponsors: B of A, TIAA, Kenneth C. Griffin Charitable Fund, BlackRock, Charles Schwab, and S&P Global. Our very special silver and bronze sponsors are displayed as I speak as well. We are most appreciative of the very generous support of all of our sponsors. Your financial contributions are more important than you may realize. Given the museum has no endowment, each year the gala provides sustainability to the next gala. As board chair, one of my main goals is, with our industry's assistance, to put the museum on a firm long-term financial foundation. Now I turn the program over to David Cowan, who will share with you how you can contribute to this evening's success and help the museum reach its goal. And he will recognize an individual who contributed immensely to the success of the museum over many, many years. David.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening. It has been a pleasure to work side by side with Peter since he assumed board chair last September. Along with his amazing career, he brings wisdom and industry insight, as well as a passion for understanding that finance and free enterprise have been instrumental to the success of the American economy. With all of you supporting the museum, we see a very exciting 2021. Those of you who are not sponsors of this evening's gala will have the opportunity to support us through the text to donate, which we'll be scrolling. Our goal is to match last year's incredibly successful gala of $1.6 million, and we hope you will text to help us reach that goal. Thank you for all those that do. Now, tonight, as Peter noted, is a celebration of our nation's financial heritage, and I can think of no one more emblematic of that theme than our own former board chair, Professor Richard Silla. He served in that role for 10 years and an incredible 30 years as trustee, editorial board member, and guest curator. His contribution to the museum has been invaluable, and tonight we will distinguish him with a special recognition of service presentation. Dick, it is clear you are universally loved by both the trustees and the staff. At times, you led us through some tricky waters, always remaining calm and professional, leading by example with your generosity and, importantly, with your time. Dick, both personally and from all of us, it is with a depth of appreciation beyond expression that we say thank you. Now, to introduce Professor Silla, we are thrilled to be joined by a former museum trustee, well-known historian, author, and professor, Neil Ferguson. Neil is the Milbank Family Senior Fellow at the Hoover Institution at Stanford, as well as a Senior Faculty Fellow at the Belfer Center for Science and International Affairs at Harvard. I'll be back after special recognition of service presentation with a museum update and a highlight of our 2021 Gala Awards and honorees.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be part of the Museum of American Finance's 2021 Gala in celebration of our nation's financial heritage. Before I say another word, let me pay a warm tribute to this year's Whitehead Award honoree, my very distant cousin Roger Ferguson, and also to our Schwab Financial Innovation Award honoree, Brian Moynihan. Also tonight, my old friend Richard Silla is being honored for his 3 decades of service for the museum, including a stint as board chair. It's a great pleasure, as well as an honor for me, to be given this opportunity to sing his praises. When I first got to know Dick Silla nearly 20 years ago, when we were colleagues at New York University's Stern School, it sometimes felt like we were the only financial historians in Manhattan. I vividly recall our conversations about Alexander Hamilton, who we both agreed was the most important of all the founding fathers, the one who'd be least surprised by the enormous economic and geopolitical advances the United States has made since his untimely death. That was a contrarian view back then. It was only years later that Lin-Manuel Miranda would make Hamilton a household name with a rap musical, something Dick and I could have done ourselves if we'd only thought of it. The museum is now more than 30 years old, and many people have contributed to its success. But I think I can safely say that without Dick's leadership and influence, it wouldn't have become what it is today, the indispensable starting point for anyone who wishes to understand the historical significance of Wall Street. Dick, more than any other scholar, you've helped a generation of historians understand the full importance of finance for American history. But you've also done a huge amount to get that knowledge across to a wider public. As a token of gratitude for all your decades of dedication, the museum is presenting you tonight with a plaque of recognition, which includes highlights of the trustees' favorite part of the board meetings, your Fun with Financial History segments. Many, many congratulations, Dick. Oh, and if you have any good ideas for Broadway musicals, you know where to find me.
Thank you, Neil, for those kind words. Coming from the person I regard as the world's preeminent financial historian, as well as one of the great general historians of our time, they mean a lot to me. But seriously, my friend, do you think you and I really could compete with Lin-Manuel Miranda when it comes to writing musicals? I doubt it. Let me also add my congratulations to our honorees. I extend personal thanks to Roger Ferguson for his careful shepherding of a great company, TIAA, for many years. As a young professor in the 1970s, I began to accumulate retirement funds in TIAA. The Dow was then less than 1,000, and now it's over 30,000. As a result, I'm having a comfortable retirement. The power of compound interest is something more people, especially young people, need to learn and appreciate. I also congratulate Brian Moynihan, whose shepherding of Bank of America I have followed over the past decade. He has showed me and others that true innovation sometimes consists in getting back to the basics of service to customers, clients, employees, and communities. It's a type of innovation too little appreciated. Neil referred to my 30-year affiliation with the museum. It began in 1990, shortly after John Herzog founded the museum, and I had come to NYU to teach and write about financial history. John and I met and quickly discovered that we were birds of a feather in our desire to explain to a wide audience the historic role of finance in building our country. So John Herzog, my friend and benefactor of so many of us, I salute you for your foresight in founding the museum. It was a great honor for me to succeed John as the chair of the museum's Board of Trustees, and I would be remiss if I did not thank all members of the board, past and present, for their dedication to the museum's mission of financial education and preservation. All of you stepped up to give your time, talents, and resources to the mission. I'm most grateful. The mission continues. It must. We have to teach people that finance is a key technology for moving resources backward and forward in time, and that the ability to do that makes our lives better. I referred earlier to my TIAA retirement accounts, which grew over time as Roger and others oversaw them. That was using the financial system to transfer resources forward in time, specifically to me now in retirement. As I and my university saved for my retirement, I also had several home mortgage loans. That was using the financial system to transfer resources backward in time, using my future income to make it possible for me and my family to purchase homes in 1970, 1994, and 2007. Because the financial system allows some individuals, entrepreneurs, businesses, and governments to transfer resources backward in time from the future to the present, others are able to transfer resources forward in time. My own experience with home mortgage loans and retirement savings indicates that sometimes we can do these things simultaneously. In my view, we also downplay the role of finance in building our country. Economic historians still argue that our country became the richest in the world because it had a transportation revolution and an industrial revolution, as well as vast Western territories to be opened up for settlement approximately 200 years ago. In this rendering of our history, little is said that the West itself was added to the country by the use of credit, exemplified by the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, bought from France by issuing millions of dollars of U.S. Treasury bonds. And New York did the same thing when it built the Erie Canal. It used existing bond markets to borrow the money to dig the canal. And the railroads were built by issuing bonds and stocks on equity and bond markets that existed. Manufacturers borrowed from banks to introduce those mass production technologies, and they issued equity shares in the securities markets that were already well established. In short, financial development in our country preceded and did much to make possible our territorial expansion, as well as our transportation and industrial revolutions. As Neil had just said, no one did more to begin America's precocious financial development than Alexander Hamilton. And that's a key reason why he and I regard Hamilton as the most important of our founding fathers. Like Neil and me, Hamilton was a student of financial history, and he concluded that the ability to transfer resources backward and forward in time was an essential ingredient of both effective government, national security, and a country's economic growth and development. Hamilton foresaw a glorious future for the United States, and he did much to make that future by doing more than anyone else to establish and nurture our financial system. In the 1790s, as a result of Hamilton's work, the U.S. economy began to grow by leaps and bounds until in a little more than a century, it was the largest economy in the world. Hence, I'm proud and grateful to see Hamilton's visage on the beautiful plaque that the museum has awarded me tonight. It's right over my shoulder here. On the back, it lists with dates the roughly 40 Fun with Financial History topics that I discussed with the board at our quarterly meetings over the past decade. About a third of them relate directly or indirectly to Hamilton because of my special interest in his innovations in public services. Thank you very much for your attention, and I now turn the mic back to David Cowan, for the steadfast leader of our museum, for an update.
Congratulations again, Dick. And it'll be great that you'll be remaining on the board as a trustee so we can have some more fun with financial history at the meetings. This past year has been a disruptive one for so many organizations, and I'm pleased to report that our museum rose to the challenge. We doubled our number of events to 40, and being virtual saw a massive increase in turnout, many with hundreds of attendees. Also going virtual was our Museum Finance Academy, our free financial literacy certificate program for high school students. You saw some of the scholarship winners in the opening video. In response to the COVID pandemic, we quickly pivoted to curate an online exhibit, Pandemics and Epidemics, Financial and Economic Effects, and launched a video series highlighting some of the most important and interesting objects from our collection. Amid rising social unrest, we leveraged our virtual events to foster discussion, our magazine to highlight inclusivity and challenges with respect to finance, and our social media channels to reintroduce our 2017-2018 exhibit, For the Love of Money, Blacks on U.S. Currency. Most recently, we curated an online exhibit for NASDAQ and their 50th anniversary, highlighting some 25 milestones in their history. We recognize the power of our collection to teach. Using our original copy of Alexander Hamilton's Report on Public Credit, the economic equivalent of the U.S. Constitution, and many other original Hamilton documents, we created a class explaining how he formed the capital markets that we, some 230 years later, still thrive under. Several firms here tonight have taken advantage of us for that class, and please reach out if you are interested. Now to our future. After COVID, how do we respond bigger, better, and stronger? It's going to be in three ways. First, in keeping with tonight's theme of celebrating our nation's financial heritage, we must digitize our collection. It is likely the single finest collection of American finance, with many articles and objects from the 18th century and the founding of our nation. It's a differentiating factor when we teach financial education classes because not only can we show stock and bond certificates, we even possess George Washington's Treasury bonds. Second, we need to find a new home in New York to create a unique and stunning museum. We want to be an integral part of the city's turnaround and are actively looking for affordable space. Third, we are working to create satellite museums in key financial cities around the nation, so we can more widely share with the public many of the amazing treasures in our collection and be a part of our nation's turnaround and rebound. Our country is not just in the middle of a health crisis. We are in the middle of an economic crisis. There is dissatisfaction with the system, and the museum is part of the answer and explains how finance can be an engine for national growth and a wealth creator for all. With your help, and our incredible board and staff, I know we can extend the story of finance and the power of financial literacy to even more Americans in 2021. It takes a tremendous amount of work to make that happen, as well as an evening like this successful. Thank you to my team of Kristen, Linda, Maura, Sarah, Ben, Robert, and especially to Mindy, who has made this evening a success after so many months of hard work. And as always, thank you to Dan Simon Invested for pro bono PR services. This evening, we'll hear what makes our two honorees so deserving of the museum's annual awards. Our Whitehead Award for Distinguished Public Service and Financial Leadership was created by John Whitehead at our first gala in 2008. Roger Ferguson embodies the dual mandate of service to country and leadership in the financial world. Our Schwab Financial Innovation Award, introduced in 2016, is symbolic of Alexander Hamilton, who demonstrated strong leadership and creativity as our nation's first Secretary of the Treasury. It's presented tonight to Brian Moynihan for his exemplary stewardship of Bank of America. Now let's begin our program.
And thank you, David. Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Pisani, and I'm thrilled to be joining you all tonight for the Museum of American Finance 2021 Gala. This is bound to be a very special evening, and we're grateful that you all took the time to join us so that we may celebrate the nation's financial heritage. Before we begin our awards presentations, let's check the donations and see where we're at. 1.3 million. We're getting close to our goal, and remember, it's 1.6 million. So just remember, text MOAF Gala, MOAF Gala to 44321. That's 44321. Our goal is 1.6 million, and I said we're getting close. I appreciate any and all donations tonight. All of us do. We're deeply grateful to anyone who has contributed so far. Thank you, all of you. Let's turn it over to Consuelo to hear more about the first award of the evening. Consuelo?
Thank you, Bob. Let's keep it going. Well, our first award, the Whitehead Award, honors the dual dedication of advancing the financial world and the world of public service, as David Cowan just said. And the award was first presented in 2008. And it was introduced by another Wall Street legend, John Whitehead, a former Museum Advisory Council member, to pay tribute to those who have demonstrated their professional commitment to a culture of service in both the public and private sectors, as he did. The museum has recognized many outstanding leaders with the Whitehead Award in previous years. Paul Volcker, Bill Donaldson, a co-chair of the gala tonight, Pete Peterson, Felix Rohatyn, Bill Harrison, another co-chair of the gala, Duncan Niederauer, David Rubenstein, Robert Rubin, Larry Summers, Tim Geithner, Janet Yellen, who is, of course, our new Treasury Secretary, and James Gorman. And introducing our honoree for the 2021 Whitehead Award is someone familiar to all of you, Jamie Dimon. Jamie is chairman and CEO of JPMorgan Chase, who has himself achieved legendary status in the world of finance for his leadership of JPMorgan Chase, a giant in just about every area of banking. He is also known for his leadership in public policy and corporate governance. Before we hear from Jamie, our friends at TIAA, however, have put together a tribute to our honoree, Roger Ferguson. So take a look.
Roger Ferguson grew up in Washington, D.C., part of a moderate-income family. His mother, a teacher, instilled a belief in the power of education. His father, a map maker for the Army, passed along an avid interest in economics and investing. Roger was inspired by President Johnson's appointment of Andrew Bremer to the Federal Reserve, the first African American to hold the post. Roger's academic path led him to Harvard, where he earned 3 degrees, including a PhD in economics. He began his career as a lawyer at Davis, Polk & Wardwell, where he met his wife, Annette Nazareth. Roger became a partner at McKinsey & Company prior to entering public service in 1997, when President Clinton appointed him to the Fed's board. 2 years later, he made history when he became the first African American to hold the Fed's number 2 position as vice chairman. Alan Greenspan has called Roger one of the most effective vice chairmen in the history of the Federal Reserve. As the only Fed governor in Washington on 9/11, Roger led the Fed's initial response to the attacks. His actions have been credited with helping to avoid a global financial meltdown. In 2008, Roger became the chief executive officer of TIAA, where he led the firm through the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. Under Roger's leadership, TIAA more than doubled its assets under management to over $1 trillion and found new ways to deliver guaranteed lifetime income in retirement. Roger is a passionate advocate and thought leader for higher education, notably as the co-chair of the Academy of Arts and Sciences Commission on the Future of Undergraduate Education. He works tirelessly to increase diversity and inclusion initiatives across corporate America and speaks widely on the impact of systemic racism on the economy, health, education, and society. Roger Ferguson has shown that education, leadership, and a commitment to serve are a powerful combination, and that a person who follows his passion can make an important difference on the world. Congratulations, Roger W. Ferguson, Jr., on the Whitehead Award for Distinguished Public Service and Financial Leadership.
Hello, my name is Jamie Dimon, and I'm really pleased to have the privilege of introducing the honoree and my good friend, Roger Ferguson. I can't think of anyone more deserving of this recognition than Roger. Having known Roger for years and followed his career from Harvard to Washington, his unwavering commitment to public service is second to none. Whether through his work to build a stronger economy or by setting an example for how companies can make a difference, and even during a year when a global pandemic and social unrest worsened the economic divide. At times like these, Roger is the type of person I would want in charge. He moved quickly during the financial crisis of 2008 to make sure retirees were paid. When the world was spinning after the attacks of 9/11, Roger's early actions at the Federal Reserve kept our financial system running, sending a message of strength and stability to the rest of the world that our U.S. economy would not be paralyzed. And his work on President Obama's Council on Jobs and Competitiveness is just one of the ways he demonstrated his commitment to get Americans back to work and strengthen our economy. During his tenure as president and CEO of TIAA, the firm added nearly 1 million new retirement clients, developed new lifetime income solutions, and began offering financial wellness resources. It's not just his impressive business acumen that I appreciate so much. I have the greatest respect for Roger and his dedication to doing what's right. He made sure TIAA corporate responsibility was a top priority. By lifting up their global workforce and communities through dialogue, education, and access to much-needed technology, by donating laptops to schools and funding internet access, he's shown how each of us can make a difference. As a passionate advocate and thought leader in higher education, Roger dedicates his time to serving on several commissions, including the Academy of Arts and Sciences Commission on the Future of Undergraduate Education. And notably, Roger has been a proud champion of inclusion and diversity that extends far beyond TIAA. Roger, it's because of people like you that our country is as resilient as it is. You are both a brilliant thinker and an exceptional human being. Thank you for your service, your commitment, and your friendship. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. Please join me in welcoming Roger Ferguson.
Thank you, Jamie, for those very kind words. It's an honor to be introduced by you. You've had such an amazing impact as a business and civic leader in New York City, but also as one of the most respected and trusted voices in American finance. I also want to thank the Museum of American Finance for this wonderful honor. I'm truly humbled to be recognized in this way. It's made even more special by the fact that my co-honoree is my friend Brian Moynihan, so congratulations to you as well, Brian. It's an honor to be recognized by an organization charged with preserving such a significant part of American history, and also with promoting financial literacy, which is a passion of mine. Equally importantly, it's an honor to receive an award created to memorialize John Whitehead. As many of you know, John was a long-time leader in public service and in the world of finance, including as a founding chairman of the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, and also as the co-chairman of this fine institution. John also served as chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York City and the Harvard Board of Overseers. These are two organizations that have meant so much in my life, so I have that connection directly with John. Although I am a Washington, D.C. native, I've spent so much of my career and so many of my days in New York. My work life has always revolved around the financial markets and the financial service industry, both in the private sector and in public service. I started my career right here in New York, advising financial firms as a lawyer at the Wall Street firm of Davis, Polk, and Wardwell. Although I quickly decided that law was really not the path for me, I still consider it the best job I've ever had. And that's because it's where I met my wife, Annette Nazareth, without whom I would not be speaking with you today. So Annette, thank you very much for 34 years of lovely married life. I've been very fortunate in my career in ways I could never have imagined when I was just a nerdy little kid talking about interest rates with my father around the kitchen table. For one thing, I eventually got to my teenage dream job, which was serving as a Federal Reserve governor. I know you're probably thinking that's a little unusual for a teenager to have that as an aspiration. Some kids could recite batting orders. I could recite the names of the FOMC members from 1968. It was a privilege to be a public servant at the Federal Reserve, working with a ferociously dedicated team to protect the U.S. monetary and financial system. And never was that more true and more important than on 9/11, one of the nation's darkest days. After the Fed, and for the past 12 years, I had the great fortune to lead TIAA. We are a mission-driven company with deep New York City roots. Let me tell you just a bit of history about my company, our company, TIAA. TIAA was founded in 1918. It was a vision of Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie wanted to help solve one of the big social challenges of his day, which was enabling teachers and higher ed employees to retire with financial dignity and security. Today, our company, TIAA, we serve the entire not-for-profit sector, notably the healthcare industry that has been so challenged in these times, as well as higher ed, which has also gone through its own rapid and seismic evolution to adapt to current circumstances. I've always come to work every day inspired by our clients, millions of people and thousands of institutions who are making a difference in the world and who've dedicated themselves to others. Our view, and let me quote one of my leaders here, one of my predecessors, is, quote, "A corporation can only continue to be a profitable investment for its stockholders if it discharges its obligations to society." That statement that I just quoted first appeared in a 1971 op-ed in the New York Times written by my predecessor, the iconic TIAA CEO of his day, William Greenough. So I'm therefore really proud of the deep roots that we at TIAA have in stakeholder capitalism, because companies have an important part to play in making the world a more just and equitable place. Certainly, throughout the challenges of the past year, business has served as a force for positive change. Let's think about what we've seen from businesses. Accelerated vaccine research, quickly pivoting to get employees working remotely, and making commitments to end racism. Private enterprise has often led the way. I'm sure many of us here tonight agree that capitalism is without a doubt the best model to generate wealth and to lift people out of poverty. But I think many of us would also agree that capitalism is not perfect. Many people feel left out of a system that seems to produce tremendous and unequal benefits for relatively few, and frankly, far more modest benefits for everyone else. And listen, we really need to fix that. Business leaders must embrace a new definition of capitalism that puts a greater emphasis on social responsibility and equity. The Business Roundtable took meaningful steps toward that goal when it redefined the purpose of the corporation to include a commitment to all stakeholders. And again, Jamie Dimon was in the lead in that Business Roundtable effort. That was a great start, but companies now need to move beyond aspiration. We need to set clear goals and take specific actions. Therefore, in December, I joined with chief executives of several dozen companies, including my co-honoree Brian Moynihan, to launch the Council on Inclusive Capitalism with the Vatican. The council was created as a partnership to foment true systemic change, with each member organization making commitments to develop a more equitable, sustainable, just, and ultimately trusted economic system. TIAA, for example, has made commitments ranging from the expansion of diversity and inclusion to tackling climate change through our investments and our business practices. But even with the massive commitments already underway, all of us can and should do more. We have to learn a lasting lesson from the recent crises. A more inclusive, a more equitable, a more just capitalism is better for business, it's better for Americans, it's better for the world. So I encourage leaders at every level to use your power, use your platform, use your resources to help your employees and your communities overcome the challenges that we face and build a better world for all of us. We must ensure that capitalism is representative of, responds to the needs of real, everyday people across the country by creating opportunities for wealth for a much broader cross-section of society, creating jobs that pay well and give people dignity, and keeping communities strong. I'm close to the end of my career in financial services. I'm going to retire at the end of March. So I've started to reflect on the great good fortune that I've had in my career, including the opportunity to talk about, indeed to push, many of the changes I've just discussed with you. And one of the great opportunities and one of the joys of my career is the opportunity to be recognized like this, with this great Whitehead Award. So thank you. It's very much an honor. Let me close simply by saying thank you again to the Museum of American Finance. Thank you to Jamie Dimon, and congratulations to Brian Moynihan, my friend and fellow honoree. Thank you so much.
Those were just such thoughtful and thought-provoking and inspiring remarks, Roger. So especially considering the times that we live in now, our industry is facing crises in so many areas, and Roger has very successfully displayed the leadership to address them, both within TIAA and as an outspoken advocate for social justice. TIAA will miss him as he retires in March, and hopefully we'll see him take on another highly visible and impactful role. I have a feeling we will. Now, before we move on to our next award presentation, let's check our text to donate progress. There's still time to help us beat our goal of $1.6 million tonight. And currently we are just over 1.3. We are at 1.302 million. So please consider donating tonight. And thank you to all who have already contributed. Once again, just text MOAF-GALA, MOAF Gala, to 44321. And Bob, let's learn a little bit more about our next award.
Thank you, Consuelo. Our next award is the Schwab Award. It recognizes trailblazing individuals who've kept the tradition of financial innovation and transformation alive and moving forward. In 2016, the museum introduced the Financial Innovation Award, and Charles Schwab was the inaugural honoree. He was very generously lent his name to this important award. Those previously recognized with this award for innovations in new institutions, new markets, and new financial instruments are Joe Ricketts, Ken Griffin, Larry Fink, and Dan Schulman. To introduce our honoree for the 2021 Schwab Financial Innovation Award, it's my own pleasure to introduce Mark Benioff. Mark, an innovator in cloud computing, is chair and the CEO and the founder of Salesforce. Under his leadership, Salesforce has become the world's #1 provider of customer relationship management. He founded Salesforce in 1999. It's now a Fortune 500 company with 50,000 employees. Now let's hear more about this year's Schwab Award honoree. Mark?
Hi everyone, it's Mark Benioff. I'm the chairman and CEO of Salesforce, and I'm so excited here to do one thing, which is congratulations, Brian Moynihan. Thank you for everything that you have done for all of us and everything that you do every single day. Your leadership is exemplary, not just at the world's largest bank, the Bank of America, not just in North Carolina, but all over the world, and for so many CEOs like me, that you have impacted in such a positive way. You, above all, have shown us that we have to think about not just our shareholders, but also our stakeholders. Probably one of the best examples I could illuminate is your tremendous work with the World Economic Forum, with the IBC, and what you're doing to illuminate the power of ESGs and make them standards and how businesses can operate in a better way for everyone and to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you, Brian, for your leadership, your vision, your inspiration. Thank you, Brian, for showing us what it means to be a great Chief Executive Officer. We are very grateful to you, and we are looking forward to your tremendous vision and leadership and what you're going to do for the world next. Thank you for showing us how to be a platform for change, and thank you for showing us how to be a great global leader.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for those kind words, and thank you for being a great colleague. Thank all of you for joining us tonight. Thank you to the Museum of American Finance. I am humbled to receive this award among so many distinguished past recipients. I also want to congratulate my friend Roger. He received much-deserved recognition this evening, and I want to join you in thanking him for everything he's contributed to our industry and to our country. Now, to start off, I want to make it clear. I accept this award not for me, but for the 210,000-plus teammates at Bank of America, for my management team who lead them well, and for the board of directors who invest in us every day to help make us successful. I also want to extend a special thanks tonight to my teammates who work in our financial centers. They have done an extraordinary job helping clients with their day-to-day financial needs during this health and humanitarian crisis. The efforts of those teammates underscore over the past year the essential and empowering role that financial services plays in society every day. I also want to acknowledge and celebrate the museum's important work to build awareness around the critical role that finance and banking plays in society. So tonight, I'm honored to receive this award for financial innovation. So I thought I'd talk just a moment about what financial innovation means to me and what it means to our company. Financial innovation is essential for what we call responsible growth. That's how we deliver for our teammates, our clients, our communities, and our shareholders. It's how we connect and create and support lifetime relationships for our clients and customers. It's how we empower clients, letting them choose how to engage with us in a personalized experience for themselves. Now, we've spent the past decade focusing very heavily to make all this happen. We've invested over $30 billion in the last decade on innovation. Now, for our clients, this allows us to deliver a full range of capabilities across integrated high-tech, high-touch experience. We want them to have it any way they want it. They can do things faster. They can do them more things. They can do things more securely. It takes the friction out of transactions. In the end of the day, it also drives new consumer behavior. Now, on our end, it may create efficiencies which help us deliver further to our clients and shareholders. Now, digital lending is one of the examples. Innovation has changed digital lending in the last few years. From just a start a couple years ago, we now have 80% of our direct consumer loans come through digital channels. In the payments area is another area of innovation. Our Zelle product, which we in the industry drive P2P payments and P2B small business payments in particular, has 13 million active users. They sent $140 billion out last year in payments. That grew at 80%. Now, that's interesting, but what you find more fascinating is that Zelle payments are currently running about 40% of the amount of charges made on credit cards at Bank of America. That's 35 million credit card customers with behavior that's been built up over the years. Now, that shift just doesn't happen on the consumer side through innovation. It happens on the commercial side. A chief financial officer can use our Cash Pro mobile platform to manage accounts and make payments from her desktop machine, her laptop, her phone, and even her watch, in the same way I could for our personal accounts. One of the most important developments of the past year has been the evolution and integration of artificial intelligence into our business. We have an artificial intelligence-based assistant named Erica. It can do all the basics for our clients and customers, like tell them their balance, get them their routing number, or pay a bill for them. But importantly, Erica is also proactive. It can reach out to help if it sees spending patterns that may make you feel like you're going to run out of money soon, or if a merchant charges you twice for the same item, or if a bill is running higher than normal. 17 million Erica users, up from 0 3 years ago. And we apply that same approach on our corporate side. Using artificial intelligence, we can do peer benchmarking and cash flow forecasting for our clients. Allows them to make predictive forecasts for cash flow needs they have over the next 24 months based on data and society. Now, financial innovation, we know, is a means by which we can help millions of Americans connect to the economy and provide them with the tools to help them achieve their financial goals. That kind of financial planning, embedded in our new product just launched in October called Life Plan, gives the power to a client to select what's important to them and personalize their savings and financial planning around it, and get the results and insights both through high touch or high tech. In just 2.5 months, we've seen 2.4 million life plans created by our clients. To help clients manage their budgets, we also added Balance Assist, a low-cost, digital-only overdraft to payday loan. A client can borrow up to $500 for a $5 flat fee. And our Safe Balance checking account allows people to eliminate overdrafts that they just can't occur. So these investments in technology have enabled us to be responsive to the rapidly changing needs of our clients. Now, that's also been key in this pandemic. As the health crisis hit, we saw a spike in digital adoption among our baby boomer and senior clients, cohorts that had not used our services this way before. They reached for a reliable way to do banking when they couldn't go outside. And as one client shared last spring, quote, "I'm a 75-year-old senior in New York, currently sheltering in place at home. I received a few checks, and I needed to deposit them so I could pay my bills. I heard about a way to deposit using my iPhone. So I decided the time had come to learn how to do it." And that's how customer behavior changes. Erica also learned 60,000 new pandemic-related intents within days, changing its behavior based on what was going on in the environment. Now, financial innovation doesn't just apply to the client experience. It also works for our internal platforms. These engines of our operations and engines of our capabilities are critical and benefit from sustained innovation. The infrastructure we built gave us the ability to rapidly transition the majority of our global workforce, 90%, to remote posture. 100,000 people received computers, enabled those computers, and got back to work in 4 weeks during the start of the crisis. Innovation remains embedded in how we work across our enterprise. We deliver our programming with agile techniques, and that has new software delivered continuously at all times. In 2020, we launched 5,000 plus projects, more than 30 million development hours. Innovation is a part of who we are. It's in our culture. We have the largest intellectual property portfolio in financial services, 2,800 plus granted patents, 440 patents granted alone just last year. Now, there's an innovation side that people often overlook when they think about new technology and new applications. It's called innovation of process. Making things simpler and easier is a way to get things done well. That helps us drive operational excellence, which helps us make additional investments in our teammates, our capabilities, and communities we serve around the world. And in 2020, we took some of that savings and invested heavily in other areas. We invested in our employees, enhancing our benefits to support them through the health crisis, moving to a $20 starting minimum salary. We invested in our clients' capabilities with health and safety measures and new digital offerings. And importantly, especially when the issues of racial social justice emerged in America, we committed to $1 billion to help in that matter, including everything from jobs to PPE to help these communities fight off this healthcare crisis. So innovation for me is what we have to do. It's what we have to do to have a great company and run the company well. So in closing, I'd like to thank all my teammates at Bank of America who do all the work that takes all these innovations and does a great job for our customers with them. I'd also like to thank the board of directors who supports me and the management team and all our teammates in driving innovation in our company. I'd like to thank again the museum for this honor and for the work the museum does to support and celebrate our industry. Thank all of you for being here with us tonight. I hope you enjoy the rest of the program. Take care and be safe.
Thank you, Brian. And you shed some light on how critical technology has been during the current pandemic and how it has changed our relationship with money and banking today and in the future. These changes make financial services more accessible across generations and throughout society. Mark Benioff touched on some of your other significant contributions to society as well. So congratulations from all of us.
And you know, Bob, this evening's speakers have discussed so many important topics: social justice, democratizing finance, ESG, stakeholder accountability, enlightened capitalism. They all are impacting the financial industry and also changing the focus of corporate America and affecting society for the better. So we've heard thoughts on these topics from financial historians and educators, business leaders, and financial industry icons.
And this has been an exceptional evening and a pleasure to be with you, Consuelo, my old friend for so many years. We attend the museum's gala every year, both of us, and we're particularly honored to MC this evening. And there are positive aspects to holding a virtual gala. This year, our speakers joined us from California, from Montana, from New Hampshire, from Massachusetts, Washington, D.C., and New York. And our guests were able to attend from all over the world. Over 500 people tuned in.
They were, Bob. Let's take a final look at our progress towards meeting our goal for the gala. And we are hovering right now around 1.317 million. You know, there is still time to make donations. They can be made until the end of the program, and we hope that you will consider donating this evening. And again, thank you all who have already donated. And now it's time for Bob and me to say goodnight, but it's been a most successful and entertaining evening, and we thank you for joining us.
And we also want to take a moment to thank those whose hard work and engaged participation produced this great program. But the museum really can't do it without you, the supporters, the members, the trustee, all the people that you heard from tonight. You provide the financial foundation for the museum's programming and the educational initiatives that raise the awareness of the importance of finance to our global economy. We've been talking about this all night. Now some thoughts, finally, from David Cowan and Peter Cohen to close the program.
I want to personally thank Consuelo, Mack, and Bob Pisani for navigating us through this incredible evening. It's been a fantastic gala. I also want to thank our illustrious program participants, our co-chairs and trustees, and all of our sponsors for their incredible support. A very special note of appreciation to Professor Richard Silla, who has been my invaluable partner and friend going back 30 years when he was my PhD thesis advisor. I know we shared our fundraising goal with you throughout the evening. Those who donated through the Text to Donate platform, thank you for helping us achieve that goal. There is still time for those of you who have not given yet. Our Text to Donate will be available for weeks to come, so please help to make this gala even more successful. Now, I'd like to bring back Museum Board Chair Peter Cohen to close the program. Peter has been an incredible asset since he joined as board chair last September. We are so appreciative of his contribution to our continued success. Peter.
Thank you, David. David successfully steers the museum through these turbulent times. We are grateful for his commitment to the museum and to financial education. I offer a special thank you to our honorees, Brian Moynihan, Roger Ferguson, and for the very, very generous support of their organizations. We wish Roger all the best in his next endeavor, which we look forward to hearing more about. We wish Brian continued success in transforming Bank of America into a technological powerhouse within financial services. Special thanks also go to Neil Ferguson, Jamie Dimon, and Mark Benioff for enhancing this great gala program. I close with our appreciation to all of you who joined us this evening. We will begin planning our 2022 annual celebration and look forward to having all of you join us in person at that time. Good night, stay well, and great success for the year ahead. Thank you.